Thank you, and thank you. Welcome to the Calvin Dean Show, sponsored by the NFL Network. This is Calvin Dean. Oh, wow. It is Wildcard Weekend. Wow, we have 6 games ahead of us this weekend. It is going to be a fun weekend to watch football. And this show, you listen to this show and you will find out there might be a big upset. Yeah. I might tell everyone about that upset. I just might. Stay tuned. I mean, it's going to be a fun show. Definitely. Let's get to it. First of all, we have to talk about what's going on in America right now. Yes, it was a sad day yesterday in America. Very sad. I will keep this short and sweet. It's not too sweet. It's like bitter sweet, you know. And it's with a grave heart, you know, being a true American. Yesterday was just the worst time in the history of the United States of America. I'm so saddened and disgusted that it happened yesterday was a coup. It's called a coup. Now, mind you, it's just an amazing time of history, and it was disgraceful. It was shameful. It's like watching a Super Bowl, and I'm going to do it to football, okay? Let's just do it to football, okay? Because this is all about football, this show, right? We have a Super Bowl. Let's just, hypothetical. One team, Chicago Bears, win 72-3, the Kansas City Chiefs, right? And afterwards, the Kansas City Chiefs as well. We really won. We won. We should have the Super Bowl. I mean, they get everyone all off right, and they start lying to them, and those people start believing that lie, and then they go to court, and then of course it's no, you lost 72-3. Watch the game. No, and they go to every court in the land trying to get that game overturned, and we're looking at it as fans, and we're going, oh, wow, I mean, really? Come on, really? Yeah, that's what happened. In the political sense, you have a madman who is president of the United States. And he was trying to get a coup, hit the Capitol when they're all there, storm the Capitol, and now mind you, the National Guard was held back by that man, by the president. He demanded them to stand down and let the anarchist terrorists into our state capital. 4 people dead because of him. Many injured. And probably at the end of this, over thousands will be arrested. And it's just shameful. It's a shameful day in America. And we all should really pay attention that democracy yesterday was saved. It was saved. Just remember that democracy yesterday was saved. And though I am not a big Pence fan, Mike Pence, the Vice President of the United States, but what he did yesterday, he didn't do what the president told him to do. Anarchy. Sedition. Well, it was sedition. He wanted them to create a coup, and they would take over. along with 7 senators and 138 House members. I guess it was 142 to be exact. And they took over. They tried to take over. They were forming a coup against all of us Americans. And it's just, it was failed. It failed. And now thousands, like I said, will be arrested. And all the people who conspired in this, like Senator Hawley, Senator Cruz, Rudy Giuliani, Don Jr. Yeah, I'm mentioning names because these are the people who are all about the coup. And trust me, the justice will take care of it. Merrick Garland the new Attorney General, will take care of the matter. I can guarantee you. The minute he gets in the office, in 13 days, you're going to see a lot of indictments. And he can pardon anyone he wants, but it's not going to work because he tried to have a coup against the United States that he pardoned for all his companions, compadres, will be null and void. I can guarantee you that. Anyway, now let's get to football, people. Take a deep breath. And we need to go forward in life, and democracy wins. That's what happened. Democracy wins. Now, let's get ready to rumble. Yeah. Okay, the picks for this weekend, NFL weekend. Yes, it's called Wildcard Weekend. Yeah. Oh, yeah. First game, we are talking about the Indianapolis Colts going into Buffalo. 11-5 Colts against the Buffalo Bills at 13-3. Wow, what a matchup this is going to be. I mean, both teams are just right. I mean, I've never seen both teams so even in a lot of the experience, especially in the first 3 games on Saturday. Wow, it's going to be exciting, guys. It's going to be exciting, but it's going to be very competitive on all 3 games. I mean, you have the Baltimore. I always say the Baltimore Colts. It's the Indianapolis Colts. They used to be the Baltimore Colts. Now, the Colts their offense, they're 10th in the NFL. 10th. Yeah, 10th. And the Buffalo Bills is number 2. Number 2, guys. The Buffalo Bills, number 2 offense in the NFL. You would think, wow. The Buffalo Bills, number 2 offense in the NFL. That's pretty impressive. The defense, on the other hand, on the Colts, is number 8 in the NFL. Number 8, top 8. Buffalo Bills, 14. Huh. That's interesting. 14 to 8. The passing attack on the Indianapolis Colts, number 11, and the passing attack on the Bills is number 3. That's where it's all at. It's Josh Allen. Josh Allen's a superstar. Hey, Phillip Rivers is right there too. But Josh Allen, there's a difference between those 2 quarterbacks. For number 1, Phillip Rivers, he's always been this underrated quarterback, but wonder why he's starting in the NFL, because he's a great quarterback. That's why. And, then you have Josh Allen, gunslinger, and plus he runs the ball too. So, and he can get out of the pocket a little bit better. Phillip Rivers is more like, he reminds me a lot like Dan Marino. Don't you think? He had, that drop back quarterback, not much of a runner, sits there and he is more like sidearm when he throws the ball. I mean, they do have a similar style, that's for sure. And then I'm telling you, number 3 passing attack, it's all about that Josh Allen attack, man. He's that good. He is that good, guys. Watch out for the Buffalo Bills. I mean, They're just flying high, too. I mean, they won their division for the first time in a long time, right? It's always been the New England Patriots. Always. You know? New England didn't even make the playoffs. And I predicted that. Hello. Anyway, we got to the... we'll talk about the rushing. We have the Indianapolis Colts at 11th in the NFL. 11th. Yeah, lately their running attack's been really, really, really good. And the Colts are 20th. It's all about the Colts and the Bills. With the Bills, I mean, that it's all about, they're just flying high, man. That offense is just, it's just going, and they, I don't think they need that running game like other teams because their passing attack is just amazing. I mean, amazing. Number 3 and number 2 offense. That's impressive. So, and the Buffalo Bills number 20 in rushing. So this game is going to be a tight game. It's going to be a tight game. It's going to be a really good game. And I think, mind you, it's it's a coin toss. It's a coin toss, guys. Well, let me tell you something. The Buffalo Bills are playing at home. The Colts they do play in a dome stadium. I'm going to give this to the Bills. Bills over the Colts in the first game on Saturday. And I'm going to give it to the Buffalo Bills over the Indianapolis Colts by maybe, I would say, it's going to be close. Probably 4 points, 4 or 5 points. I'm giving that to the Bills. Next game, we have the Los Angeles Rams going into Seattle, playing Seattle 12-4. The Rams 10-6. The Rams lately just has looked. I mean, they've been degressing at the wrong time. Their offense has. I just don't see their offense. I've lost confidence in the Rams. I've lost confidence in them. Their defense is all that. Now the defense knows how to stop Mr. Wilson. That's for sure. And the Seahawks. The Rams' offense has just been stagnant, So, I'm definitely, I'm really thinking that the Seahawks, their defense, they've been stepping up lately. It has stepped up. I mean, it's still their defense is still, they've gotten better. They were like around 29-30. In mid-season, but now they're at 22, so they've gotten a little bit better as of late. But the defense of the Rams are number 1, guys. It's number 1. But, you have the offense between the Rams and the Seahawks. The reason why the Rams are better is because of their rushing offense. And the Seattle Seahawks offense is 17. But you know what? The passing on the Rams is 13. And the Seahawks is 16. That's just strange. Wow. And then the rushing on the Rams is 10. And the rushing on the Seahawks is 12. So it's a pretty even game. I mean, on stats right now, because of the number 1 defense going against the number 22 defense. But that's a little... how would you say it? It's a little murky, so to speak, because the Seattle defense has been playing good lately. And the last time they met, it was just recently, and the Seattle Seahawks beat them 20-9. So, I live in Los Angeles. I never pick games from the heart because you can't, because that's not how you win by picking games. So sadly, I'm going to say that the Seattle Seahawks will beat the Los Angeles Rams in Seattle. at the 1:40 p.m. Pacific Standard Time game. The next game, wow. The next game we have the high-flying Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Their offense have just clicked in the last two games. It's just been boom, 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 boom. It's been really, really good. Spreading the ball out. They've now gotten everyone involved, and they're really flying high. The Washington football team, on the other hand, they're grinders. They're grinders, the Washington football team. I mean, they just, they have that great, great defense. I mean, they're Chase Young, and I mean, it's exciting. You have their number 2 defense in the NFL. Number 2, and then you have the Rams, number 1. Think about it, right? So you have the number 1 and number 2 defense going into the playoffs. Think about it, people. They always say the actual teams that make it in the playoffs have stout defenses. It's true. Number 6 for the Tampa Bay Bucks. Number 2 for the Washington football team. But then you have the offense on the Tampa Bay Bucks is number 7. And the offense on the Washington football team is number 30. The passing, number 2 to number 25. Yeah, that's a little. We have to understand something. The Washington football team, they win, well, of course, by their defense, and then they have Alex Smith, who's that guy who's just brings them down the field like a Montana. Just brings them down, surgically brings them down the field, little by little, no big plays down, just little by little, and just, they dink and dunk, and they eat up the clock. So they let their defense come to work, and that's how, they can win games. Now, mind you, how they can win games, that's a little. I mean, they're 7-9. Wow, winning the division at 7-9. That's the only thing that's not going in their favor. Okay, and I trust me, I would love to see Alex Smith. I would love to see him play. But they're saying he's not going to play. The Heron, the other quarterback, who's like third string, has been taking the first team reps all week. So I don't think Alex Smith is going to play, and that's a bummer because that makes the team even more inept. The offense now. I don't see the Washington. I love the whole comeback with the Washington football team. They really have played some great games and down the stretch, and hats off to them. But I don't see them winning this game. I'm giving it to the Bucks. And don't hate me, Washington football team. I think the Bucks will probably beat them by 17, 20, 21 points, something like that. It's going to be one of those games where it'll be Washington football team might score 7 to 10 points, and Tampa Bay Buccaneers will be like around 32 to 35 points, something like in that sense. So it's going to be that type of game. But it's going to be a fun game. Probably the first half be a fun game. I think the Tampa Bay, I think they're just going to start right off the bat, just driving it down. And the Washington football team, they got a great defense. Don't get me wrong, great defense, and they're not going to bend. But I think those, Brady will definitely surgically, go down the field and beat the Washington football team. Okay, on Sunday, our first game, we have the Baltimore Ravens going up against the Tennessee Titans. The Baltimore Ravens have some huge chip on their shoulders. they do. And watch out for the Baltimore Ravens. I've always said, they get into playoffs, watch out. They have this amazing defense. And then their offense, as of late, has been really, really good. And I think Lamar Jackson has he's pissed off. He's pissed off. Their running game is number 1 in the NFL, guys. The Baltimore Ravens' running game is number 1. Their passing is 32, which is not good. But it has been getting better as of late. And the passing on attack on the Tennessee Titans, number 23. Now you have the rushing attack on the Titans is number 2. So you have the number 1 and number 2 rushing attack in the NFL. So what does that say? Well, that tells me that I think we have a game. We might have even a high-scoring game. But then you have to look at their defense. The defense of the Tennessee Titans is number 28. The defense of the Baltimore Ravens is number 7. Well, all I can tell you is this. The Baltimore Ravens, with 7th-ranked defense, going into the Tennessee Titans, they have a chip on their shoulder. I'm giving this to the Baltimore Ravens by they're going to stamp it. They're going to stamp it. They're going to stamp their name to this game. 13-point Ravens by 13 points, might even be more, over the Tennessee Titans. We have the Chicago Bears, the 8-8 Chicago Bears, going into the New Orleans Saints at 12-4. Saints are all that and then some, guys. They are all that and then some. But I mean, the Bears getting into the playoffs, man, they're dangerous. They are dangerous because they've been playing some better offense. I mean, really, they used to be like 32 offense, 31. Now they're 26, so their offense has been getting better. The Saints' offense is 12. The defense on the Saints is 4. The defense of the Bears is 11. Bears used to have that, the famous, infamous, defense. And it was just a great defense. They've had all the, Singletary, Butkus, all the big, Urlacher. I mean, there's a lot of great names came out of the Chicago Bears defense. A lot of great names. Just that, 11th. That's, everyone's thinking Bears this year, top 3, top 5 defenses, but they're number 11. Getting better. They've been getting better as of late because their offense got better too. So it's not always a 3 and out for the offense now. So that gives the defense a little breathing room, so they don't have to be on the field all game long. That's for sure. So the passing, 22 on the Chicago Bears, and this is surprising, 19 for passing on the New Orleans Saints. 19. That's interesting. And we have 25 rushing on the Chicago, which 25, they're in the rushing category, they're 25th, Chicago Bears, and the New Orleans Saints is number 6. But now, mind you, they've been getting better too, the Bears. So it's going to be a fun game to watch. This is going to be my upset, guys. I hope everyone is not mad at me on this one. I really think that the Chicago Bears are going to upset the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans. Chicago Bears over the New Orleans Saints. That's my upset special for the weekend. Upset special for the weekend. The Chicago Bears over the New Orleans Saints. Then we have the Sunday night game. We have the Cleveland Browns going into Steel Town itself, the Steelers, and they're going to be starting their players, the actual starters this week. And the Cleveland Browns had a hard time last week on playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. They really did. They had, they played them tough. I mean, the Browns only beat them 22-24. I mean, the Browns 24, Steelers 22. Come on, guys. Really? Just the Steelers have that number 3 defense, and the Browns, Baker Mayfield, you brought your team from, just from the gutter last year, which they should have been in the same position they are now this year. They should have been last year, but they didn't do it. So all I can say is that hats off to Baker Mayfield for bringing his team this far to play the Pittsburgh Steelers at 12-4. The Browns aren't they're no schmucks either. They're 11-5. So my pick, the last game of Wildcard Weekend is, yes, the Pittsburgh Steelers will pull it out. They will beat the Cleveland Browns and further their chances to get into the next round. So let's just wrap it up really quickly. We have the Bills over the Indianapolis Colts. We have the Seattle Seahawks over the Los Angeles Rams. We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers over the Washington Football Team. We have the Baltimore Ravens, pissed off Baltimore Ravens over the Tennessee Titans. We have the upset special of the weekend. The Chicago Bears will go into New Orleans and beat the New Orleans Saints. The Chicago Bears, remember that. Chicago Bears over the New Orleans Saints, our upset special of the weekend. And then to finish out the weekend, we have the Steelers with Ben Roethlisberger beating the Cleveland Browns in Pittsburgh. Okay, people, stay safe, stay kind. Be kind to people. Be nice. This is a very trying time. We have a pandemic. People are sick. People are still in lockdown in Los Angeles. Prayers, hearts go out to everyone who's been sick, who has passed away. I just had a cousin pass away this past week. She was in the hospital and she passed, and it's terrible. I had another cousin who passed away from COVID, and I have so many others who've been sick and ill and passed. So just, you have to be careful. Wear a mask, social distance. If you don't need to go out, stay indoors just until this passes. Everyone's vaccinated, okay? God bless America, people. This is Calvin Dean. Thank you for tuning in to the Calvin Dean Show. See you next weekend.